All right. Hello, hello, and welcome again to another episode of Telehealth Tuesday. This is your go to podcast for modern insights on wellness and health solutions. I'm Dr. Michael Bookhardt, and tonight, as we always do, we have an amazing guest that is ready, eager, and willing. They're backstage, ready to talk to you. But before we get started, I want to let you guys know that Telehealth Tuesday can be viewed on multiple platforms. You can go to Good Faith Wellness Center on Instagram, Facebook, but most importantly, Dr. B TV. That's the word doctor spelled out DOCTOR. The letter B is in boy, TV. If you want, we want you to go there, follow, share, tag, like, and most importantly, subscribe so you won't miss a beat of this amazing program. Also, Good Faith Wellness Center. We are taking new patients, and if you're coming to see Dr. Bookhardt, you're in luck. Because if you have insurance, great. We take every single insurance payer. If you don't, you're still in luck, and it's still great because we have our own plans. That's right, $99 a month for individuals. Okay, that's unlimited visits to Good Faith Wellness Center. Please, this is not anything that you can exchange for healthcare insurance. It's not healthcare insurance. So please don't go to Baptist Hospital or UMC or St. Dominic's and saying, I got the Good Faith Wellness Plan or Bookhardt Care or something like that, because you will be turned around, okay? So this is for use at Good Faith Wellness Center at the clinic, because we want to make sure to try to keep you out of the hospital, out of the nursing homes or wherever it is. We want to make sure keep you home safe and sound and healthy and keep you coming back to see us, okay? That's cheaper than your cell phone bill, so nobody should have an excuse. We wanted to make it so that everyone could have amazing health care the way healthcare should be done. All right, now let's get right to the bio. I want to tell you all about Miss Dean, Shani Dean. Let's talk about her. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is her mantras, helping people to find more than just a house, but helping them to find a place to actually call home. As a breast cancer survivor, she stated she's learned the value of resilience, hope, and making every moment count. She brings compassion, determination, and a personal commitment to guiding clients through every step of their real estate journey. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I want to bring to you the woman, the myth, the legend, Miss Shani Dean. Give it to her, give it to her.
Hello, everybody.
How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, we're fantastic. I'm so glad you could join us on this blazing Tuesday afternoon. We see that you're driving, but you're not actually driving. You have someone driving, so don't worry, everyone. She is safe. She has been safe.
I am not driving. I am riding.
Excellent. Well, tell us all about yourself. You know, how you got into being a realtor and all this good stuff. We're going to go through your whole journey. I told them just a little bit about you, but I guess the first thing we want to know is how you got into real estate, and how, tell us about your passion for it and helping people and all that good stuff.
Yep. Um, the way I got into real estate, I had it's kind of like let me just take you back a little bit.
All
I
right.
had diagnosed with ductal carcinoma in situ.
In situ. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And that is breast cancer that's still in the ducts of your breast. And that was in 2017, which was a very rough year for me. That was the year my aunt passed, and that was in February that she passed. And
I'm
so
sorry to hear that.
July, I felt another lump in my breast. I had felt one back when I was in my 20s, and then I felt one in my 30s. That was when I had my first lumpectomy. And then I felt one, and I thought, not again, not again, not this. So in 2017, 6 months after my aunt's passed, and I thought, it can't get any worse. But it did. And they told me it had come back. But the good news was we was still in the ducts, and it was ductal carcinoma in situ, and it
Mm-hmm.
was in the very early stages. It was stage 0. So in 2017, I thought, I'm working at a call center. I'm tired of managing people, and life is too short. This could have been worse. I had to have a double mastectomy. One was I had to have the right breast removed but they
Hmm.
went ahead and moved the left one because they didn't want to have this to happen again. So if that happened, I'm working in call centers and I'm managing people, and I thought, I don't like this. I'm not really fully helping anybody. So let me just get through this. And
Hmm.
then right before COVID hit, literally in 2019, I decided, I love looking at houses. I had a wonderful realtor when I purchased my house, and I'm healthy, thank God. And I decided, like late 40s, I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to change my career. And that's what I did. I went to the Real Estate Institute, took the classes, didn't know what I was into. But I thought if I can get past losing the most bump in my breast, I pretty much can do anything. And I passed my real estate exam. I went to Keller Williams, and I didn't get everything I needed there. It's a good company, but I didn't get everything I needed. And I went to another brokerage, and then Dewana called me, and she's like, "Hey, I think this will be a good fit for you here." And I was like, "Me?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm going to teach you how to do this. I see what you're doing, but I think with just a little tweaking, you could do this a lot better." So I took her up on it, and in 2020 two, I went to the agency house. So it all began with I had that ductal carcinoma in situ, DCIS. I knew then I didn't want to do what I was doing. I wanted to help people. And
Hmm.
it's been great ever since.
That's amazing. That is an amazing story, and I'm so glad you didn't give up, and I'm so glad that you were able to have the double mastectomy. And for those of you who may not know, because there may be some non-medical folks here, that means complete removal of both breasts. Okay. Um,
Mhm.
and that is just such an amazing testimony, because had you not, and certainly it's not a, I wouldn't say a fortunate thing to be diagnosed, but
Mhm.
fortunate through you going through the process, you probably wouldn't be where you are today.
No. Mhm.
Hmm.
And it does put me in a position where I'm able to talk to others about it. You would be surprised the number of women that you speak to or husbands that you speak to when they're in the process of purchasing a home. And just in casual conversation, they'll tell you something like, "Well, yeah, my wife is going through this," or "I've had a family member." And then they look at you and they think, "Well, I can get through this."
Hmm.
And I'll share it with people. I said, "Well, this is what happened, and this is how I got through it." And it's just a good platform.
Yeah, exactly. And what I would just say, even before we go off script just a little bit, how important is it? Like, what would you say to all the folks that are listening to us through the state of Mississippi and radio, TV land, or whatever, and even people that randomly listen in other countries to us? If you could tell them one kind of phrase or one statement about getting mammograms done, what would you say to these people?
Early detection is the best thing you can do. Even if you don't feel a lump in your breast, go get them tested. Even if you don't have a family history of breast cancer, go get it tested. Because I didn't have a family history of breast cancer. I did not feel a lump when I was 37 years old, when I had the first diagnosis. I didn't feel anything. I just was very conscious of my breast because I'd had fibrocystic disease when I was in my 20s in college. So I was just very conscious of it. So I tell everyone early detection is the best cure, because had I waited, I would not have maybe not have had such a good outcome. And
Mm.
also, don't ignore your body. The first time I didn't feel anything. The second time I felt this huge lump, and I'm just going to be honest with everybody. I was scared to death at that point because it was huge, and I was like, "God, this is it for me." And really, what made me go ahead and have the procedure? My little
Hmm.
niece at the time, she was 4, and she asked me, was I going to be alive for her birthday? And I thought, well, I got to be here for this baby. So I went ahead, and it wasn't as bad as I thought. And even though the idea of having a bilateral mastectomy sounds terrible,
Hmm.
you still alive.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the
So
same thing
that's
we.
what I feel like people should just really go get tested. That's just the best cure. Whether no one in your family had it, and I know with us in the Black community, we don't really talk about things like that. So you don't know your grandmother may have had it. She just didn't tell you. You didn't know what she was going to the doctor for. So I tell everybody to make sure that they get those breast examinations. If you feel something, go get it tested. If they got to do a lumpectomy and tell you it's nothing, nobody notices the scars anyway.
That's right. That's right. You know, and I'm so glad you said that because, like you said, early detection, and sometimes, hopefully, if it's early detection, or sometimes it's somebody who doesn't have anything. They don't have a diagnosis of cancer, but God, God forbid that you have a diagnosis of it. Even and you are so fortunate to have stage 0, but even if when you're going up to stages 1, 2, 3, and 4, majority of those, especially if caught again, we keep saying early detection, can be taken care of, whether it's chemo, radiation, surgery, all those good things. But like you said, at the end of the day, there are some people who are so worried about mammogram, whether it's mammogram, pap smear, biopsy, or endometrial biopsy, or men, getting prostate biopsies. And the thing is, it's like, yeah, we can certainly understand people being worried about it. And even when it's a man and they don't want anybody, that like going in
Mm-hmm.
there and they feel like they're being violated somewhat. But hey, it's still better off to be violated for a few minutes and still have your life than to be dead and have your manhood. Hello.
That's what I tell people all the time. I said, you have to give up. In my case, they did it September 14th, 2017, and I
Hmm.
was done with the whole process by March. So how many?
Wow. Wow.
That was September, October, November, December. About 4 months of my life. That's
Hmm.
okay, to feel pretty good and not really have to worry about it because you still have to take care of your body and the rest of your body, but at least you're not worried about that breast right there.
That's right. Big
Mhm.
shout out to Aunt Betty. We see you on there. Thank you for joining. I guess you're a first time viewer.
Mhm.
So down there in Orlando, Florida, in Sanford, Florida, in my hometown of Orlando. Big shout out to you guys and Damian RC, Pastor Parham. Thank you so much for joining us. And I agree. She says, I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if you can see can you see the caption on there where she says, "What a timely presentation. It appears that breast cancer is on the rise." Can you see that?
I can't see any comments.
We can't see it. Okay.
No.
Well, I'll make sure to read them all, read those
Okay.
to you. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, and I always say to people, man, it's a shame that people. I mean, there are several things that nobody should die from, including asthma and all that COPD, because
Mhm.
all these things are treatable. Sometimes people just die because they don't have an inhaler or something so simple.
Mhm.
But when it comes to cancer, breast cancer, colon cancer, prostate cancer, these things
Mhm.
are easily screened. Uh, I wouldn't say easily treated, but they're
Mhm.
treatable. Most of them,
Mhm.
especially with early detection. So
Mhm.
we have got to do better. When it comes to men's month and men's health, and last month we try to highlight the fellows on there. We try to talk about that and getting colonoscopies and things. I think that uh, anecdotally, we're probably doing better. See, more people are talking about these things. But like Aunt Betty
Mhm.
saying, there's some of the statistics and the incidence is showing that this is, it's on the rise, and breast cancer being one of the most common cancers. And the other thing is, a lot of people don't know that men can get breast cancer as well.
They sure can. Mhm.
So, but there's no screening that is recommended by the U.S. Task Force for that. But if you have a
Mhm.
family history and all that, that's why. See, when it comes to
Mhm.
people that are kind of outliers and don't follow the trend, that's why, Shannon, they got to go. They need to have a primary doctor, and if they don't have one,
Mhm.
that's why they need to come to Good Faith Wellness Center and come and see yours truly. We also have two other partners there, but you need to come and make sure that you're getting your blood work done at least annually. And if you have
Mhm.
diabetes, getting your hemoglobin A1C done at least every 3 months. Want to make sure that's under control, your blood pressure, checking your urine, make sure there's no protein in your urine, all that. But anyway, all right, that's all about some primary care
And you
stuff.
have to
Look,
be honest with your doctor. And I know
yes,
doctors
yes,
are moving from room to room because they have different patients, but you need to be honest with them. And sometimes you really need to tell them your fears because a lot of times they can help you through it. They've
that
done
is a
this
great point.
over and over.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, honestly, it's key. And the thing is, you know what's so crazy is sometimes even in the hospital when we do hospital work, a lot of people will say, "Oh yeah, I don't do any cocaine. I don't do this and that." And they say, "Well, you know, we have a sample
Yeah,
of
they're
your
gonna
urine.
see it.
You do understand I'm running a urine drug
Mm-hmm.
screen. It's going to show up for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
all the major drugs. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
judgment free zone. We pretty much in the hospital, especially, seen it all. So,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, honesty is key with your PCP. We need to make a little
Mm-hmm.
hashtag. Put a hashtag with that. Like, that sounds pretty good.
I
Um,
love it.
all right. Well, look. What we want to talk about? We'll talk. Have another follow up question about breast cancer, and then we may transition to a question on home buying. But as a breast cancer
Okay.
survivor, and shout out to breast cancer survivors, Lashandra and the two other young ladies that we've done. We did a segment about a
Mm-hmm.
year, almost a year and a half ago when we started, and then we did a follow up segment during Breast Cancer Month, exactly 1 year apart. So
Mm-hmm.
big shout out to the Survivor Sisters. If you
Yeah.
guys missed that episode, please.
Lashandra Walker.
Deshandra Walk, yeah, you
Yeah,
know her.
I know her. Yeah, I know her.
Yeah, she was
Mm-hmm.
on there with, Lord forgive me for the other two young ladies' names are just, but I know
Mm-hmm.
Lashandra. I've known her a long time. The
Mm-hmm.
other two I met through her. But
Yes.
as a breast cancer survivor, what truly kept you motivated during all of this? What kept you motivated?
Well, I would tell myself, and different people have different things that keep them motivated. It's it sounds terrible, and for different people, it is worse than others. So I would tell myself when I went in, because I have implants, and they did the lateral. They moved my
The lymph node?
latissimal.
Oh,
Yes, they
latissimus dorsi.
moved it around to the front. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to have fluid pulled from my back and saline placed in my tissue expanders. And it could be a little uncomfortable for just a few seconds. So what helped me get through the process is I would tell myself, you can take anything for a couple of minutes. What helped me get through the whole journey was thinking about the other side. This is just a small part of your life. This is just a small part of your life. You can just
Mm-hmm.
get through this and you got the rest of your life. And prayer and talking to God and trusting that He already knows what it's going to be. So I can stress about this, I can worry about this, or I can just get through this because
That's right.
it's already written. I'm just going through the process. It's the map
Mm-hmm.
is already out there. I'm just following it. I just
It's
didn't know
already
it.
done.
Yeah.
It's already done.
So as I'm laying there and they're putting the fluid in my tissue expanders, that was a bit uncomfortable. And I would tell my doctor, look, he said, is this hurting? I said, it's killing me. He said, but
Mm,
you're not saying anything. I said, you're going to be done in a minute and you can get
mm.
through anything for just a short period of time. It's just a short period of time. It's a small
Wow.
section of your life.
That's,
So that's how I got through it. Just self-talk. Hey, it's just a small section of my life. This is just a small part of my life. It's a
mm.
small part of my life.
I
And
find
that
that
helped me.
truly amazing. And even for people that I think most people that listen to our, watch our program and especially in the South, most people are Christian, but even for those that are not Christian or don't believe in a higher power or deity or whatnot, even if you just said, "Hey, I know it's going to be over in just a moment," so keep doing what you're doing
Mm-hmm.
because everything has to come to an end. So that's
Mm-hmm.
powerful what you said. We know
Mm-hmm.
from where from up above, from whom comes our help. So we know where it comes from as
Mm-hmm.
Christian people, as believers. But even for the non-believers out there, whether you're a atheist or whoever, like agnostic,
Mm-hmm.
even just for those people to encourage them, saying, "Hey, it's all going to be over in just a moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We let's change gears just a little bit here too, because I know we've got some a question here
And
about.
then something else I'd like to
Oh,
tell
go ahead.
people. One more thing I'd like to tell
Go ahead.
people that
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think that everybody should know when they have to go through something in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
People are so quick to get to the other side. You know how we see TikTok and they say, "And let's get to the good part."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, this is here, and let's get to the good part. The thing about it is, it's okay not to be okay. You will be okay later, but
Mm-hmm.
you can go ahead and mourn that you're going to lose your breast. You can go ahead and mourn that you have to have this procedure, whatever it is. It is okay not to be okay. But what is not okay is to just sit in it. And so when I talk to different people, and I've had sit downs with different people, especially when I was working in the call centers, it's amazing the number of people that had diagnosis of different things. And one girl, she had stage 2 breast cancer while we were there, and she was boohooing because they told her on the job, which they will call you and tell you when you're at work. I
Mm-hmm.
told her it's okay, it's gonna be okay, but it's not gonna be okay today, and it's okay for it not to be okay today. And so
Mm.
I would like for people, when they are having to deal with people that are going through something, allow them to not be okay right now, but not sit in it, because it is going to be okay, but not today when it's you.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's I
So
think
now
that,
I'm off my soapbox on that, but people don't
oh
give
yeah.
people the opportunity to not be okay for a
Mm-hmm.
little while.
Yeah, I think that's extremely that's great advice, and I think that's so timely because
Hmm.
a lot of people don't they think, well, especially men, we say, well, we have to be
Hmm.
um, the protector and all those good things that we stand for, what the Bible created us to do, and head of the household and be the one, the spiritual
Hmm.
leader, and different things like that. But it's okay to be vulnerable, and that's what we say in the men's talks and stuff. And shout out to
Hmm.
Kanoa and Coach and all those other guys that are doing a great job with doing men's roundtables and all that, and
Hmm.
bringing in these young boys from the community because it's okay. Just because you're vulnerable, you say, "Oh, I'm having my time to cry, or my time to hurt, or what, or even needing your time to heal." That doesn't make you any less of a person or less of a man. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
To do. We got to heal. We got to get our mind right and be
That's
ready
right.
for the journey. And on the up, it's going to be better. Mourn it and get past it, and it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Um,
Mhm.
so one question about the home buying experience. We'll switch gears. And but if anybody has a question about her journey, or even a medical question about breast cancer, don't hesitate, and don't all ask at once. So we're here for you. And even though we have prepared questions, we say this every week, we would much rather hear from you. We've got some good ones, but we would much rather hear from you. So at any point, don't hesitate to put your comment or your question in there, and we'll get it. We'll get that answer. But what would you say, in your opinion, is the biggest mistake that first time home buyers make today? The biggest mistake.
Okay, I went out for just a little bit. Did you
Oh,
ask me a question?
yeah. Yeah. What would you say is the biggest mistake that first time home buyers make today? The biggest mistake.
Okay, the biggest mistake is looking for a home before you're pre-approved.
Mm.
You would be surprised the number of people that call me and my colleagues, and they're like, "Hey, I found this home and I would like to go see it." And we're like, "Okay, how much is it?" "Oh, it's 450,000. Have you been pre-approved?" No, that is the biggest mistake,
Mm.
and that just leads you to heartache.
Yeah.
There's a
Because
big
yeah,
difference in a $450,000 home and a two
mm,
hundred thousand dollar home.
big difference.
So
Big.
that is a major mistake. It's like putting the cart before the horse.
Mm. So I mean, how did that? So if I guess was the realtor and or broker's job to educate the client, but Is there a way to get this type of information out to people like before? Or I guess we just have to do a better job of talking amongst our community and letting people know those things.
Which is a moment. Okay, what was the question again? My
Okay,
apologies.
yeah, I think it's probably going. Um, no, I was just saying, is there a way to let people know? I know that this is obviously um, the duties of your realtor and or
Mm-hmm.
brokerage, but is there a way that people like how would one know this without
This is a
having
good
access
question.
to you
Let me
before
see
the
if I see
process
it.
starts? Uh, okay, I think it's cutting out. Can you still hear me?
One moment for me, because I'm
Okay,
gonna read what you're asking me.
okay.
Mhm.
I think it's
So,
cutting out.
did you ask me? What did you ask me? What are some of the common myths?
No, some of the like I was just wondering, is there a way to like without having a realtor, without having access to you before this process, how would one know that they need to be pre-approved, before doing all this legwork and looking at all these houses? Is there a way that we could educate folks before they get to the point of meeting someone like you or realtor and or a broker?
Um, Not really. It's either you're gonna walk into the bank and tell your lending institution, hey, I think I'm going to purchase a home and I'd like to get pre-approved for a mortgage, or you
Hmm.
choose a realtor, and we have some lenders that we prefer. And when I say we prefer those lenders, we're not saying that they're better than any other lenders. They've just worked very well for us with our clients. And we'll send you to at least three so that you can shop the
Okay.
mortgage and you can see which facility or lending institution works best for you, because you want to be pre-approved before you go and look for a home.
Hmm.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, you're saying so just to be clear to the viewers,
Mhm.
before they even start driving around and looking at neighborhoods and saying, "Oh my gosh, this is my dream house. This is what I got." You're
Mhm.
saying, "Look, let's clear the money first, and then we come back, and then you can
That's
start
what we
doing."
want to do. We want to make sure that our credit's in order, at least 640. We want to make sure that you have money saved now. And this is so important. We catch this so many times. People don't file them their taxes. So we're 1099 employees, realtors. So we have to make sure when we're filing our taxes, anyone that's self-employed, make sure that you're not writing everything off. If you're making $100,000 a year and you know you want to buy a home, we need that to show on your taxes for at least 2 years. So make sure you're filing your taxes. It's really important. Make sure that you know what your credit is. You can download myfico.com. It's $39 so you can see exactly what the lender is going to see. And you want to look at your mortgage scores. What the lender looks at is not the highest score. They don't look at the lowest score. They look at the one in the middle. So, for
Okay.
example, if you have a 650, you have a 730, and you have a 700. That 700 is the middle score.
Okay.
So that's
And
what they're going to look at.
speaking of that, what would you say, especially for first time home buyers? I mean, what would the minimum be for them to get that first time? Is it the AHA loan or the first time home buyer credit or loan or whatever it is? Like, is there a minimum like 600 or 550 that you would
At
recommend?
least 640 if you're looking for any down payment assistance. So we have Mississippi Home Court. They have a lot of different programs the lenders will speak to you about, and they'll help you with down payment assistance. And I know I said it, I kind of skimmed over it really quickly. Make sure you save some money. Now, you're probably not going to use all that money. What the bank is looking for, they want to make sure that you're not a risk.
Hmm.
Remember, they're lending you a lot of money for 30 years generally, and they want to make sure that you're going to pay it back. So if they see that you've saved a little money and your credit score is good and you hold a job for at least 2 years, then you're a good candidate.
Okay. So having holding down the job at least 2 years for 1099 people, making sure that they are not writing, even though 1099 love to write stuff off. But you're saying if you're trying to
It's
buy a
real
house,
easy.
first time home buyer, yeah,
Yes.
just kind of take it easy with the write offs. Um,
Hmm.
make sure you're filing your
Because
taxes.
remember, that's what you're going to turn into the bank. The bank is going to want to see your taxes. And so when they're determining how much home you can afford, it's about what your taxes are saying. So you
Would
may make 100, 150, and you want a $300,000 house, but you probably can afford. But if your tax is saying that you only bring home 20,000, probably only going to be able to get $100,000 home.
so? What about somebody who hasn't filed in a few years, but they make 200 grand a year, and
Hmm.
they have a contract from their job that shows? Does that help their chances or their standing if they have the
So they
contract?
haven't filed their taxes in a few years,
Yeah,
and they
three
have a
years.
contract from their job that says that they make X amount of dollars. Does
Like
that help
200.
them?
And they can show
The
some bank
job says that they make
statements,
200,000,
right? And they
but
show
they've
that they're
written off 150,000.
no write-offs. It's just that they haven't done their taxes in a few years. They got a brand new job they started 6 months ago that shows they
Hmm.
make, the contract says they make 200,000 gross,
Uh-huh.
but they don't have any taxes to show. But they can show you the 6 months that they've been on the job, and that
Yes,
it's in line with
but and they
their
had a job
contract.
before, correct?
Yeah, they had a job before here.
Yeah, that will help them. They will take that into consideration. That
Hmm.
happens quite a bit. That you have to show, especially like with teachers when they're getting a new contract, or a person that's changing jobs, and they haven't necessarily gotten their first check. The lending institutions will take that. Yes,
Looking at their contract.
yes.
Okay. All right. Next question is, what would you say? And this next question is very, the question itself is very timely. What would you say that is the best time to actually buy a house is, and why or why not? Like people talk about, is it a
Now,
buyer's market or a seller's market? How do how do you know?
now is the best time, and let me explain why.
Okay.
People that waited last year to purchase that home that may have been 200,000, it's 215 now.
Hmm.
Homes generally appreciate, and every year the housing market changes. So whenever people ask me what's a good time, the time is now. So the neighborhood I moved in 20 years ago, the homes were selling for 150, 135 to 150.
Hmm.
Now the same house I live in. I haven't moved the street. I haven't done anything. The houses in that neighborhood are selling for 259. So
Wow.
now it's the best time to purchase a home.
So are you saying basically we don't expect it to get any better for the buyer? It's not going to get any better. Like they're never going to go back down to what they or anywhere close to what they used to be.
So you mean like the homes going down to about 150, 135?
Right. Or just,
Material costs more. No,
right. Or
it's
even
the
just the
material
interest.
to build the home.
Yeah. And even just the interest rates, the rates and all that kind of
So
stuff.
let's talk about the interest rates. So a lot of people are talking about those 3% interest rates, those 2.9% that we
Hmm.
had back when it was COVID.
Oh,
Well, that
yeah.
was during COVID. If you look statistically, did not think to pull them, but I'll send them to you so you can send them to everyone when we get off the phone. 20 years ago, when I purchased my home, my interest rate was 6.25. I bought it down to like 5.25.
Hmm.
People that were buying homes, they were buying them like at 7%. So that 3% interest rate was to keep the economy from going to a recession because of COVID. That's not the norm. That's an exception. So if people are just waiting for that 3% interest rate, they'll never purchase a home because that
Mm.
was for COVID to keep the economy from going into a recession.
I think that's a really important point to note and repeat. So basically, what you just told us The 3% rates that we saw in COVID and all that money they were giving people, whether it was loans for businesses and credits and all that. We're not expecting that, but especially specifically for homes, we are not expecting those rates to ever go back down to 3%.
No, we hope we don't have another pandemic that forced it.
Now, I
We
hope
pray that
not
we
in my
don't.
lifetime.
And let me tell you what people were doing during that time. They were paying $10,000, $20,000 over asking price because with interest rates being that low, everybody was trying to buy a home, and the
Hmm.
sellers they could just sit and they could just wait, and people were paying way over the asking price just to get the home. It
Hmm.
was good for people that were getting the home, but it was bad for those that didn't have the money to go $10,000, $15,000 above asking price.
Hmm. I got a kind of an off-scripted question here, in terms of like people who borrow against the home or
Hmm.
um, using a home as collateral. Is
Like
that
a home
something?
equity line of credit.
Yeah, all that stuff. Do you recommend that, or is that bad for the lender? Is that bad? Are we putting ourselves in a bad position by doing that?
It depends on what you need. Some people get a home equity line of credit because they want to do repairs on their home. Say the foundation is cracking, and that happens here in Mississippi because of that Yazoo clay. It's nothing that the homeowner did, it just happens. So if you need to get that home equity line of credit and you don't have that kind of money just sitting around, well, it's
Hmm.
good for you.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think a banker, and I wouldn't advise you to use a home equity line of credit to purchase a car
Right,
or to
something that
do
appreciates about
something.
something that
Yeah.
depreciates. Yeah.
But if you need to make repairs, major repairs, or you're doing add-ons, it's good that you have that option.
Hmm.
It
Okay.
is another payment that you have to pay. It's not just you take the equity out your home and you just got free money. That is another payment.
Yeah, I
And I
think
think
that's
a lot of
important.
people believe that, oh, I'm just going to take the equity out of my home and that's going to be it. No, it's a
Mhm.
payment.
And the equity, just again, like I say, there might be all kinds of people watching that are
Hmm.
not, because we throw that word around a lot. The equity is, well, I'll let you define it just to make sure that people understand what
But
is equity.
simplest way I can define equity is what you paid into your house. Like I did, my home when I bought it, it was 135. That's what they were selling in the neighborhood. Now they're selling for 259. So when I checked with the bank, they said I had $200,000 worth of equity because I paid my down enough over 20 years that I have paid enough that I could pull money out of the house if I needed to. So that's what the equity is, how much you paid it down, and you have that much invested in your home. That's the simplest way I can say it.
So when they say you pay, like you have 200,000 in equity, so could it be, and sometimes it's
Hmm.
like
Just after
even
20 years now.
okay, yeah, so like even though you might not have actually paid like actual cash 200 grand into it, but they do some other figures to it. It's the amount that you paid into it, I guess, versus what's owed, and then they put the taxes and all that. They factor in the taxes and appreciation and all that kind of stuff.
Although I haven't paid just about half though, but although I haven't that much, when the homes around my home now, they're 250.
Hmm.
So that means that my home is at now. And with the amount that I owe on my home, if I needed to pull equity out, I could actually pull that much
All because they look at the value of the house
because I
now.
paid it down that low, if that
Yeah,
makes
you paid it
sense.
down that low, and they look at
Yes,
the fact
not
that
from
it's
when I bought it.
appreciated now.
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. That's good.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
glad we defined that. Let's see. One of the other
And
questions
that's
was,
just the simplest way I can put it. It could be
oh
very,
yeah,
very complicated, but that's the simplest form.
no, that's good. That's good. Um, and then I guess one of the other things, kind of a generalized question about myths about, do you feel like there are any myths or anything about buying a home, like some things that you run into or see people their thought process about it, like any myths, maybe somebody comparing buying a home to having an
The
apartment.
biggest myth. Okay, I hear this is a very big myth. People think that you have to have 20% down. You don't. If you have an FHA loan, it's 3.5% of the price of the home. If it's a VA home, or if you get in an area that's USDA, it's 0% down payment. Down payment is, let's say, on a $250,000 home, it's 3.5% of that if it's an FHA loan. We say closing costs, and a lot of times we incorporate closing costs and down payments. We just do that one thing. The closing costs, the attorney fees, the lender fees, those fees. But the down payment is something totally different that is specifically toward the house. So 20% is not needed. And to answer the second part of what you asked, people that are renting, they sometimes say, well, I want to make sure I pay my car note off before, I commit to buying a house, 'cause I don't, it's gonna be a big deal. And I ask them, how much are you paying for rent? And rent now, it's like $1,300, $1,500. And I'm like, you're already paying a mortgage, it's just not yours.
Just not
Because if you're
yours.
paying $1,300 to $1,500 mortgage, you're paying a mortgage. So why not just pay your mortgage and your car note? And at least if you decide you want to move, you can sell your home and maybe make something out of it. But if you're living in an apartment, or if you're renting a home, when you move, you're not going to make things. You're just going to take what you had and got to start all over. So those are things that we hear all the time.
I got you. I think that is spot on. I see Common Man. Shout out to Common Man Podcast. Man, we see you there, Coach. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Um, let's change gears one more time, if you don't mind. Let's go back to what we were discussing about your journey with breast cancer. I know a lot of people are interested. These are two very interesting topics, and we've gone back and forth. But we just want to let you all know, as a quick, very brief commercial break, that this is Telehealth Tuesday, your go-to podcast for insights on modern health and wellness solutions. We are here each and every Tuesday for your listening and viewing pleasure and edification, but not just to be talking heads. We want to hear from you. And so we always love audience participation. Those questions mean more to us than anything we've already pre-scripted or written out. So thank you to those that are always here each and every Tuesday. We want to give a big shout out to you guys. And for the new viewers, thank you all for joining us. We are here with Miss Shani Dean, realtor, executive to the stars, and also breast cancer survivor, one of the survivor sisters there. And shout out to that, and for all those who have had the courage to go through this and go through treatment. She was stage 0 ductal carcinoma in situ, for those of you that might have missed it. And so the good Lord has healed her. She had both breasts removed, which is a double or bilateral mastectomy. And she is here right now, right here in the flesh. And so we are just thankful for her journey and her triumph. We were just discussing some questions about being a realtor, about home buying, some of the myths that people think of. And she said, just very important to note, before we go transition back to the breast cancer questions one final time, one of the biggest things to note is that, hey, before we go and start driving down certain streets and avenues and saying, oh, I want to be in Madison, I want to be in Flowood, you need to make sure and get pre-approval to know if you're going to be able to be driving down Madison and Flowood and all that. So before looking at that and getting our hopes up and falling in love with the property, Shani says to make sure to get pre-approval. All right. So in terms of, but going back to our discussion on breast cancer, you know, how do you feel like, and you touched on this a little bit, your experience that you've gone through with breast cancer and having surgery and all the things that you discussed, how has that truly influenced your outlook on life and your career?
That's a good question. Um, I appreciate it more. I appreciate my family and my friends. Because I could have been like so many others not here. So I thank God for every day. I literally wake up every day and thank Him, literally saying, Lord, thank you for another day. Because you didn't have to do it. And I'm going to tell you this, especially what's going on with the process of having to sleep in a recliner because you can't use your arms when you have tissue expanders. When I was
Mhm.
going through that process, literally every day I woke up, I said, Lord, thank you for another day. It makes me appreciate things a lot more. Yeah, sometimes I get sidetracked and things aggravate me, but then come back, I'm thinking, you know what, Lord, it could be worse. I literally say that aloud sometimes. It could be worse. And yeah, it could be better, but it sure could be worse.
Could be worse.
So I have the attitude, I guess, gratitude. I'm thankful to be here.
Mhm.
I'm thankful to be healthy. And I appreciate people more.
And then the other question was, what advice would you give someone who's trying to balance having a serious health challenge or a similar diagnosis? What advice would you give that person who is going through something similar healthcare wise while they're trying to achieve a personal or
Okay.
financial goal? What advice would you give?
Yes.
Okay, can you hear me?
I feel like anyone that's having to go through a personal challenge, I feel like they should just acknowledge it's not all right now. I know I've said that before, but you
Hmm.
really need to acknowledge that's going to be okay, but it's not going to be okay today. And get done with that. And what I tell people that they
I think we have a few technical difficulties. I think she'll pop right back in. Um, Marnie Tompkins, good to see you. Put your stuff in the chat as usual, please. We want to
hear me.
give a shout out to you, and everyone needs to know about insurance. Make sure to see this young lady. So please put your information in the chat there. I think Shani's having some, yeah, as you can see, they're driving along. She has someone driving her
Can you
so
hear me
she
now?
could make sure to
Yeah,
be
I'm all over
present
the
with us
place.
for this. Okay. Hey, I think
I think
it,
it's not.
uh-oh, sorry, it got cut out. I don't know. You just came back in. You were saying advice that you would have for anyone going through a similar healthcare, either crisis or a
To
diagnosis.
tell them, can
Yeah.
you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I tell people to go ahead and acknowledge that they're not okay right now, because that's okay. And then get your mind right, meaning acknowledge that what you have to go through and prepare so you can go through it. On and more, and whatever you need to more you got to lose, or whatever the illness is, and then get your mind right because you got to go through it because it really begins in the mind.
Yeah. Absolutely. Um, and the last thing is, if you could leave our audience with one, I guess it's kind of piggybacking on what you just said, but if you could leave the audience with one message about hope, health, and building a better future, what would that message be? Hope, health, building a
Trust
better
that
future.
your journey, your destination is already written out. It is. Um, we can be upset. We can shout about it. We can not be happy about it, but it is already written. So you just go through it. You pray, and I know some people don't pray. So talk to whoever you talk to
Hmm.
and ask God, in my case, to lead you through it, just to get you through it.
Amen.
Every day, that thing, just thank God and ask Him to get you through it. And it's okay on the other side because you
Amen.
can worry, you can get yourself all upset, but it's already written what it's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. It is already done. You know, I think that's so amazing just to see people who've gone through things like you've gone through and able to have that positive outlook and help encourage others, man. So we just want to give you a round of applause for being a breast cancer survivor and being able to get into the right realtor niche and on your way to, like I said, realtor to the stars and giving us all encouragement. So thank you for being here. Big shout out. Round of applause. We'd love to know.
And I want to apologize for my connecting you all. I had to travel at the last minute, so my apologies.
Oh yeah, no, it is more than understandable. We just thank you for working with us and being here. I know we had some abrupt changes and all that, so we just thank you for being here with us. And just before we go, would you mind letting? I would love for you to go ahead and let everyone know. Man, peace and blessing, my brother. Charles Henderson is in the building. We got Charles. We got to get you in there to talk about insurance. Some of the things you're doing, man. So let's get together. We'll feature you, Charles, in the next week or two. But if you wouldn't mind letting the audience know, closing out, how you can be reached, if you're taking on new clients, how they can reach you, what you're working on, and maybe even what episode with Dewan and them and Sean, what episode TV you're going to be on. So just you take it away, and then I'm going to do my part, my closing, and just hang.
But they see me still on the stage when I get my CAP award, because I cap meaning that I paid it to the brokerage what I need to last year, so I did pretty good. And I would love for you all, if you're looking to purchase a home or if you would like to ask a realtor any questions, to give me a call. I'm at the agency house, and my cell is 601-906-3234.
Okay, let's put that.
And just know the standard agency is excellence, so you'll get excellent service with me.
And it's the agency HAUS.
AUS. Yes.
And give us that cell phone number one more time, please.
It's 01-906-3234.
We got it. Well, if you'll stay on just I'm going to do like a 1.5, 2-minute closing briefly. If you'll just stay on real quick, and so we can chat with you just for a few right after. I know you got to go. We've been on. Just give me a minute to close and be right back with you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of Telehealth Tuesday. This is, again, your go-to podcast for modern insights and wellness solutions. Thank you to all who have joined us tonight, all of our new viewers. I see Aunt Betty on this. So this is a powerful testimony how you navigated through and survived breast cancer. So thank you so much for that. Big shout out to Shani again for having the courage to come on and tell people about what she's gone through in her journey through breast cancer and being a survivor. So next week, you never know what it's going to be. You never know who we're going to feature. Always going to be a great time, Telehealth Tuesday. But look, don't just hold this for yourself. Make sure to bring a friend. Don't just keep the good news to yourself. It's just like going to church. Each one, reach one. Bring somebody back with you. And look, what do you have to lose? It's free. Just make sure to click the subscribe button on Dr. B TV, DOCTOR, the letter B, TV. And if you have a story, a testimony, or situation you want to discuss, you can always DM us or write us back. Email us, goodfaithwellnesscenter.com or at gmail.com. Let us know. And if there's an idea you have or even follow-up questions or comments or concerns, we'll make sure to get those addressed. So remember, God willing, we will see you always on a Tuesday. This is the place where we treat and discuss mind, body, and soul. And remember, as always, true wealth begins with good health. See you next Tuesday.